Alright, so this is a video basically to read a scripture that I really liked from the Bible and talk about it and maybe go off subject to some other things. So this one verse that I liked from Revelation 12.9/9, it's I talked about it on my community tab. It's called, but not called anything, but like it says the great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. Now let me stop there for a minute. Let's highlight let's highlight that very sentence right there. Who leads the world astray. What do you think that means? And what do you think is going on in the world right now? I'm going to tell you what that means in just a second, but the whole meaning of that, or basically a sentence of that, is basically what's happening in other countries right now, and even in North America. Heck, even it's happening everywhere. He who leads the whole world astray. Now I'm going to tell you what that means. It means everyone is going nuts, basically, okay? It basically means the whole world is losing its mind. We're losing our peace. Like, there's no such thing as mind your own business anymore, okay? If you, say that to anyone that's, looking like they're tough or something like that, you never know. They could just pull out a gun and shoot you or do whatever. Like, just take a knife and just stab you, basically, There is no, talking your way out of things when it comes to being screwed over, okay? Unfortunately, there's none of that nowadays, okay? Because everybody like that has the enemy inside of them, whether it be just by saying something just simple or just semi-offending. It really doesn't matter, okay? People are going to do that no matter what, and it's pretty scary to think about. Now let me read the rest of this verse. It's just a very short sentence, but it just says, "He was hurled down to earth, and his angels with him." All that from Revelation 12.9/9. Now let me go into a little bit of a humbling word sentence here, okay? So picture that, somebody is being made fun of for playing video games, It's no different from someone who goes outside and exercises or even plays sports, okay? They get mad at someone for playing video games. But yet again, this person, no matter what sport it is, they can't even name everybody on the baseball team or whatever sport that they're talking about, okay? It really doesn't even matter. Because, I'll give you another example. Someone who has, say, a sick fetish, basically, It's no different from someone that has a fetish over porn. It's just their fetish is widely accepted and all that stuff, while the other one is a bit frowned upon. And it's still wrong, because both of them are part of the sin of lust, basically. And this next part of the video is basically toward, forgiving people and, forgetting that, they need to be forgiven, okay? It kind of boggles that people think that, a certain individual should not be forgiven just because they have committed a very sick act or a very ominous kind of term, basically. Whether it be, murder or child exploitation, it really doesn't matter, okay? If that person says that they don't do that anymore, or they don't even do that, and you might be accusing them of the wrong thing, you need to forgive them like Jesus forgave you, okay? And don't think you're any better than that person just because you might have done some kind of exposure on them, okay? It doesn't make you a better person, and it does not give you it does not even give whoever it is that you're making justice for any closure, because that person has not been dealt with. And even if they are, if they are not sorry, you know, it's not up to us to judge them. Okay, God will deal with them. Basically, you know, it, if they're not sorry, then God will do whatever it takes to bring them to justice. Okay, and people shouldn't be all like, you know, just because you say nobody can judge you, but Jesus can judge you, and that falls into the fact that, it, like, try doing that in a court of law. Okay, that's different. Okay, that is different. That's not neither with God or with anything religious. Okay, that's here on earth. That's made by man. Okay, and it really doesn't matter. I mean, like I said, if they're sorry for it, then forgive them. Okay, don't be self-righteous. Don't be prideful. Just because you did something that might have exposed their sick fantasies or their sick thoughts. Okay, it's not right to feel all prideful just because you did something that made their sick fantasies come to the light just because of someone else. Okay, I don't want to be prideful, and I don't want to feel like I'm self-praising. Okay, pride is actually the opposite of God's character, if you didn't know. And before I try to say that, I'm basically not even addressing mistakes I've made, well, something, you've never even addressed your own mistakes, basically. Nobody's going to address their bad mistakes because they're afraid of people always leaving their side over it, okay? I've already admitted my mistakes, yet again, I still got people wanting to be my friend, okay? I might not have said all of it because I'm trying to keep everything in just basic detail. It's not like I'm trying to hide anything, okay? I already said everything in a video, yet again, it got a bunch of thumbs down saying it was really bad, okay? So it's like what's the point of making the apology if it's not going to even be forgiven? But you know something? I really don't have to worry about being forgiven by humans because I know that God forgives me for everything that I might have said or done, okay? It really, really does not matter. Really, okay? And it really doesn't matter what you think is good. It's what God knows is good. Alright? It doesn't really matter, really, what someone has done, okay? Because people commit horrible acts every day, Whether it be stealing, murder, even human trafficking, okay? If people are not doing that and they say that they're sorry for it, you forgive them as Jesus forgave you for all your sins and all your bad doings, okay? You can't put yourself above anyone just because you did something that exposed someone's sick fetishes or sick fantasies, okay? Like I said, pride is the complete opposite of God's character, okay? And you don't be self-righteous, you don't be prideful, you don't just praise your own stuff. You gotta give credit to other people for things that they've done and things that they might have fixed in their lives, okay? It's the truth, okay? And what I even said, the verse in the Bible, what do you think is happening in the world right now? What do you think caused all that? What do you think is doing? What do you think that God thinks about it, okay? It's all bad stuff, It's not just because, people always be like, oh, a bigger thing will come down and fix it, okay? No. The thing is, we created this mess. We need to fix it, but the thing is, we won't fix it. Because that's just how we are. We're late. We commit all the sins, laziness, which is sloth, basically, wrath, which is everything that's happening, the killing, all the war going on and stuff, and the lust. The lust is probably one of the worst ones, right next to pride, basically. People always lust for fame, they lust for money, okay? We really shouldn't be doing that, okay? If God really wants us to have all these things, we don't try to be impatient and try to go get it ourselves, because that commits crimes, basically, People want to go and rob banks because they're impatient to get money. They don't want to get a job, okay? And, people want to chase fame. They want to be famous and stuff. But, the thing, fame leads to depression and everything. And that's really what the enemy fuels you with. Depression, deprived. He deceives you. He's a liar. And, you know, it leads me into the 3 Ds that really set off the enemy's triggers for all this stuff. Deception, distractions, and division, okay? Now, what those mean is, you know, deception is the deceiving part of everything, okay? The enemy wants to deceive you because he believes that by manipulating you that you'll do as his commands, and we don't want to do that, okay? The other one, distractions, he will distract you, basically. And he'll do everything that basically gets your eyes off of God, basically, you know? And we don't want that to happen to anybody. It'll try to get you to chase after fame. It'll get you to try to chase after money. It'll try to do everything in its power to get you far away from God as possible. And you know, that's really not really what we need happening. And things that I've learned from my pastor that basically means about the distractions is 2 different things called pain and pleasure, basically. The pain part is basically everything bad that happens, so that way we get our eyes off Jesus Christ and start blaming God for everything bad that's happening to us. And we don't want that happening to anybody. And I know I keep on saying that shouldn't happen, but it really shouldn't be happening. You know, we don't blame God for our pain, basically, okay? You know, if anything is going on, we pray to God instead and take that pain away. We don't want people blaming God because of we're in pain, because I've seen people do it all the time, and it actually makes me pretty sad, basically. It makes me upset. And, you know, I don't blame God at all for any of the pain that goes on in my life, whether it be my haters, whether it be things in real life happening. I don't blame God for anything. Instead, like I said, I pray to God to help take the pain away. And all the while, you know, we bring all this suffering onto ourselves, but we always don't even realize it. By all the actions we take, by everything that we entertain, we bring it all to ourselves. And the enemy uses pain all the time to basically keep us from keeping our eyes on Jesus, basically. And if it's not pain, it's pleasure, basically. The complete opposite, you know? Lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, basically, okay? It's like if you don't have all of what you have and you want more, it's like you want more, basically. You know, that's what pleasure is. And I really don't even need to go into more detail about what the pleasure is. I've explained pain in basically a long detail. What pleasure is just basically that short of sins, basically. You don't have enough, so you want more, basically. It's basically just, it's like pride base. It's like pride too. Pride and lust at the same time. And the final D in everything, all this, is division. If it's not deception or distractions, he will try to divide all of us, okay? He does it, and it happens all the time. Whether it be families, friends, or anything, division will be the worst part of all of it. And, you know, if you don't see it, then, you know, I really have all of it for you right here, basically. It's all about division, you know, dividing everyone and then even destroying the Spirit of Christ, basically. You know, the enemy doesn't have to destroy us. He just has to divide us, and then we'll destroy ourselves. Even Jesus himself said that a house that divides itself or destroys itself cannot, what? Stand. It's in the Bible, Mark chapter 3. It's all there. So I hope really in great detail I did explain all the 3 Ds that basically are, you know, destroying and letting the enemy empower everyone and destroy us, basically. If I didn't, then, well, I don't know. I know you all might be confused of everything that I might have mentioned, but the thing is, I'm trying to get down to what this verse that I was reading all was trying to do. Satan who leads the whole world astray, basically. Deception, division, and distractions, basically. That's what he's doing to all of us, and we can't let that happen, because if we do that, it just destroys us. You know, and if there's people out there, basically, that have committed so many atrocious acts, basically, and they fail to basically change themselves, you still need to forgive them, basically. You know, you need to forgive them, basically, as they do not understand what they're doing, basically. Just live by what Jesus was saying, you know. Jesus was on the cross, and when he was raised up, he looked up and said, "Father, do not destroy them, as they do not understand what they are doing," okay? We all need to live by all of that right there, okay? So just forgive them. You know, it's not enough, you know. People always say someone can't be forgiven because of their atrocious and ominous acts, basically. But the thing is, they don't really know what is going to be happening in the future, though. You forgive them, they walk away, and if they keep doing it, then they're going to realize, and not only are they going to realize, but God is going to basically show them what's going to happen if they keep committing these atrocious acts. So just forgive them, basically. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has lied. Everybody has sinned. Even I have lied, and I have sinned before, you know? And the thing is, I know you've lied too, and I know you've sinned. I don't even need to know you, and I know you've done it, basically. And you know what they say, basically? I mean, the mouth says that they can't lie, but the brain does not lie, basically. It holds no lies, it holds all the truths, and anything you speak out of your mouth, basically, doesn't really matter. You speak it out of your mouth or you know it in your mind, it's a lie, basically. And you know that you're telling part of the story, but again, you're not addressing the whole thing, basically. So if you think you're really above anyone, you think you're self-righteous, you're not, basically. You're not perfect. You're not anything close to being perfect. We're not even a quarter of the way perfect, basically. The only one who ever walked this earth being perfect is Jesus, basically. And the only one that walked this planet without sin or making mistakes is Jesus. And that's basically God in the flesh, basically, okay? And once you see, basically, just how imperfect you are, you can basically start showing signs of empathy. You can start forgiving people. You can start even forgiving more than what you thought you could ever do. Forgive your enemies. Love your enemies, okay? It doesn't matter what they've done. You need to love them. You need to forgive them. And, you know, that's basically all there is to it. It might be hard. I know it's hard, but, you know, it's all the truth and all. Like I said, forgive them and love them as Jesus forgives and loves you, basically. Well, you know, I would say more on this subject, but I think I made this video long enough, so really hope if you learned anything here, if you learned anything from the verses I've mentioned, then please give this video a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you all for watching, and God bless everyone.